Mich auch.
Okay, great. Hi, Angelina. Welcome to the Rambling with Ray podcast and the Venus Guide interview. For those listening who don't know me at all, I'm Ray. I'm the founder of so many things, and basically, my work revolves around brand coherence and how brand coherence emerges through the intersection of culture, fashion, nature, and the systems that run through it. And today, we're talking to my wonderful guest, Angelina, who is the founder of EDARA Studios, and she will tell us all about it. Hi,
Yeah.
Angelina.
Hi. Hi, Ramona. Nice to be here and be part of this, your story for the magazine and podcast. And I'm happy to be here and talk with you.
Amazing. I'm so happy to have you. Tell us what Idara Studio is, what kind of women's wear brand is it, and how did you start out with it?
Okay, so I actually call it EDARA. So it's just it's a women's wear brand, and I launched the brand almost 2 years ago. It was in September 2024.
Mhm.
I launched the brand in Milan. Actually, the brand is based right now in Munich, and I'm also here from Germany, Munich. I'm living here, I have my atelier here. I decided somehow to to have my brand launch in Milan. I had the possibility to launch it at the Vespa Milano atelier. It was very, very beautiful. We had um, a PR breakfast, but then also an aperitivo with the community from them, and it was like the first step and the first beginning to introduce the brand to other people.
Mhm.
And so what can I say? Like it was the first day of the launch, and then a lot of things happened.
Yes.
I was like, okay, I need like to launch a brand, but then I was not thinking about, and then, I
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah. I love
like, and
that.
then I had like a web shop, but actually I needed to have plans what to do next, but
Yeah,
I had no plans.
I
So
love that.
yeah, and then so I think it's important to say that for me, before I launched the brand, it was very important to create garments
Mhm.
with intention. For example, when you see or go to the EDARA website, you see that I don't have 40 pieces of garments for the first collections. There are just, I don't know how many I have now, but the collections are very small. And of course, it's not always because I'm not that creative person. And of course, I would love to do like 30, 40 pieces, but
Of
it's
course.
always this balance between budget, of course, and then also, if you want to create, I don't want to say sustainable, but with intention, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Um, then it's the only way for me. And when I started, it was very clear that I want to source firstly dead stock materials because we have so many dead stock materials out there. There are so many companies right now out there who are very, very fantastic for luxury dead stock materials. And so it was really important to source for these companies and really to source for the best materials I can find. Because also when I started a brand, when I went to like stores, I always had something which I didn't like. So, and it was always, not always, but mostly, I think about materials, because when you touch a garment, you can feel if it's good, if it feels good on your body,
Yes.
if it's, I don't know, you can see and feel it. And I wanted to change that and really, have the best materials for the pieces. And of course, we have like dead stock polyester also,
Mhm.
but yeah, just I just wanted to mention that also because some people say, okay, but you have like also polyester in it and it's not
Yeah.
sustainable. But in the end, I understand that point, and yeah, but in the end, it's also dead stock, not the best sustainable option, but yeah,
Thank
just
you.
what I had in my head right now, because
Yeah.
sometimes there
Yeah.
are people who are like, yeah, but blah, 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 but you can't make everything
I think it's
100%
Yeah, I think
perfect.
it's, I totally agree on that. And I think it's so funny, two things, because first of all, I always see this that, and I catch myself doing this as well, right? When we have a quote unquote sustainable brand, like we don't want to use this word, obviously, because it's overused and I personally think it's a word used, in a way to sustain the way we have been doing the things that we have been doing. And that's what's being
Mhm.
sustained. But what we have been doing is not even sustainable in any way, right? So I
Yeah,
think what brands like yours are doing, you're doing things differently, and this is also why you're not calling yourself sustainable, right? And then it's obviously always a little bit difficult to, find the language and the word for what we're actually trying to describe.
yeah.
I personally chose the word Venusian for me because for me
Hmm.
this is the connection to, where we come from, the water, but also nurturing the soil and, the Venusian archetype or Venus as the archetype. For those listening who are friends of Angelina and fans of her brand but don't know me, I have this whole thing about Venus. I mean, this is called the Venus Guide. I have a book club called Venusian Pleasures, but this is not what I want to get into right now. I want to go into actually my point I was trying to make. I also catch myself, especially with brands who are doing things differently. I will look, oh, but they don't disclaim their, I don't know, something that like a huge brand could easily do that a small brand cannot do. And then we say, oh, they're not really sustainable or they're greenwashing or whatever. And we're not that strict when it comes to bigger brands, right? And big fashion houses. Which I find is so interesting. And then I wanted to touch actually back on a few things you said. Obviously about your whole brand model, the dead stock and the also made to order concept. I definitely want to talk about that as well. But first, I wanted to talk about your launch with Vespa Milano. I think when we had our introduction, you told me about this as well. And I wanted to touch a bit around Milan and Munich and what made Milan feel different to you than Munich. Because you mentioned it's a lot about how like something makes you feel, like the material on the skin, but also having a really nurturing environment for how you launch your brand because I think I've mentioned to you before that I know or am aware of the women behind Vesper Milano and I really like their work. So this is something I want to focus in on because I think the people we work
Hmm.
with and the community we build around that is so important, right?
Yeah, that's true. And for me, it's so, so important because the people are, yeah, it's all about the people, I think. It's not just the product, it's like especially about how you feel when you come to the room and you see the pieces. What can you smell? What's on the table? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like small little details, and everything is so, so important. And it was also the part because you mentioned about Milan and Munich. Yeah, it was because I think it goes back to I because I was born in Russia. I don't tell that often because of the political situation, but yeah, I was born there, but raised in Germany. I came here when I was 4 years old, so I went to kindergarten, to school, did my bachelor's in Germany, and but I always had the feeling of missing something. It was like a feeling of it's hard to describe, but is there a city where I really belong? It was
Yeah.
always this feeling of I don't know. Do you have a word for this feeling? It's difficult to
Um,
explain, but it's also something which makes me very creative, I would say, because there's always these things I'm searching for, like the little details. Um, Also also when I'm discovering new places, I don't know, languages, like everything inspires me. It's the little things. And I
yeah,
think this comes from my background.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm taking some notes here. I hope
Uh,
my notepad, my keypad is not being too loud. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I can imagine that it's not always easy to yeah share that detail about yourself as well. But yeah, it's definitely welcome here, and I'm super happy that you were talking so openly with us. I also love that you shared about like the constriction or the trade-off with the budget when you're creating a collection, because I think that's very real, and it's definitely something I just want the space to be for people to really
mhm.
see what it takes to, build a brand, and that it's not just what you see on Instagram, but that there's a whole story behind it. So I love that. What, how does Munich make you feel, and what do you maybe like about it?
I think it's a great city to start a brand actually
Okay.
because you have like all the press houses, I would say. You have the magazines here. You have kind of interesting events here. And the people are in the creative scene very open-minded and actually uh, you know each other. Like, I don't know everyone, but I know a few people who are also in this creative industry, and it's, I would say, very supportive.
Hmm.
For example, like I think 2 months ago, there was a shooting for Salon magazine, which was very nice, and they also had like did like a portrait season. From new talents from Munich. So there is like a creative scene which is coming, and
Hmm.
yeah, so which will have a moment, I think.
Nice.
But other on the other side, it's also difficult, for example, with fashion,
Hmm.
because I feel like sometimes people don't really understand what I'm doing. Like
Yeah.
when I had pop-ups
Yeah.
in Munich, I had, I think, three pop-ups. Yeah, three pop-ups in Munich. One was in the concept store Soables here in Munich. One was at Noah Keredine, which is like an interior store, very, very nice. And one I did like myself with all the interior and everything at Louis Point Block in Munich.
Mhm.
And I realized that when people came, they it's like difficult for them to maybe understand the construction and to see
Mhm.
why is this blazer difficult? Why it does not look this, like the
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
blazers? It's, and you always need to explain, and when I'm in Milan or Paris, you don't need to explain why you do these kind of things and why it looks maybe different.
Yeah, yeah,
Funny actually. But there are people who are very interested and they are like, oh, I always search for something like this. So
yeah,
yeah, I think you have to try it, and it's very funny, I would say,
yeah. Love.
in Munich sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, I am from outside of Munich and I studied there. I lived there for like 8 years, and I think it's very interesting to, yeah, to hear you talk about it as well, because my impression was always, I mean, it's compared to Berlin, where I'm based now. Um, It's a very obviously a much smaller city, and it's much
Mhm.
more concentrated, right? So I feel like Berlin is very, very fragmented, and there are so many scenes, and it's a little bit porous from its
Mhm.
structure, I would say. And Munich, I think, is very contained in a way, and which makes it kind of warm and also nice, and you cannot really, fall through the cracks because there's always something to catch you, kind of. Um, And what I also noticed, especially actually in the hospitality scene in Munich, is that like things change incredibly fast. Like every 3 months, there will be a new restaurant around the block.
Hmm.
Um, which obviously is also due to the financial risk that you take with a restaurant, right? So not everyone just survives beyond the first 3 months or whatever. But I think it's interesting that you're saying you feel like there's really a fashion moment kind of starting there right now, or like a new creative scene starting there right now. I really love to hear that. Um, and yeah, I also think that, your brand is still very, very young. And I can imagine that depending on who's coming in a city like Munich, that is also very traditional and there's not that much hype going on, Like I feel like, the movie Eat, Pray, Love or the book. I don't
Yeah,
really, I
yeah.
think I listened to the audiobook a few years ago or something, but in this book, I'm not sure if they do it in the movie. They talk about like if the city had a word, like one word, what would it be? And they talk about Rome in that case, and they say the
Mm.
word for Rome would be sex. And then I was thinking about like what would it be for Munich or even for Berlin? And to be honest, and this might sound a little bit negative, but I think that for Berlin, it's kind of hype because, there's
Hmm.
always something that is like or Berlin in itself is being
A lot of
hyped
new
a lot.
things coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then there's always this exclusivity of, standing in lines is a thing here that I didn't know from Munich because in Munich I was much more connected to the scene that I was in. So I didn't know standing in line for a club, that was just nothing that ever happened to me. So I had a little bit of a culture shock when I came here. But what would you say would be the word for Munich, if you can think?
From from Munich, it would be traditional.
Yeah?
I really would say traditional,
Huh?
and I really love it because it's authentic. You have like I don't know, when I see people outside or when I go to eat somewhere, then I really would say traditional. Also, when new restaurants coming up, right now there's always a line. So you need to wait 30 minutes, 1 hour. You need a reservation, otherwise no go.
Wow,
Like two
really?
months before going. So when there is a new place, people in Munich are really hungry for that, they
Yeah,
really they want that,
yeah,
and they're searching for new things, but I would say traditional, and I love to experience this kind of thing here in Munich
yeah,
because I don't know if I will move somewhere else, but
yeah.
I never saw this before in other cities.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I'm glad I got used to standing in line in lines here.
Yeah.
So when I come visit, I will know what to get myself into. But I really love that point of view. And what would you say would be the word for Milan? I've never been to Milan.
I think mm, romantic and
Uh-huh.
electric. I don't
I
know.
love that.
But when I'm in Milan, I feel like it's so free and cool and also a bit of traditional, like Munich,
Yeah,
um, authentic. I don't know. Yeah.
I love that. Nice. You really love Milan.
Yeah. Yeah, but I have a love for cities,
Yeah,
but
me too.
especially for Milan, Paris. I also experienced to live in Paris
Hmm.
after I quit my full-time job. It
Hmm.
was very nice, but also very expensive. But if I would have a chance one day, I would definitely also would move. But
Yeah,
Milan, I think, is on my number one. Yeah.
I love that. Do you have a favorite place in Milan that you like to go to?
Actually, I remember one place. It was the day before I launched the brand, and it was such a crazy feeling for me. I was so nervous. I was shaking. I couldn't eat, and then I wanted to try this cafe spot in Milan.
Yeah.
It's called It's the name is, I need to think, um, Orsonero coffee.
Mhm.
It's in a corner somewhere. I don't remember where it is, but
That's
it's
okay.
Orsonero coffee. And remember that I was sitting there with my boyfriend,
Yeah.
and I was shaking so much, but I enjoyed the coffee, and I was so happy that it was there
Yeah.
in this moment. And yeah, I think because of this, it's like, yeah, it has a special feeling for me, and
Yeah.
I will come back all the time when I'm back in Milan. Yeah.
That's so special. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Of course.
Let's circle back to your brand a little bit now that we know that Orsonero was
Mhm.
the birthplace of it. Basically.
I hope the name is Ozonero,
If
but
it's not,
I
it's
think
also
so. Yeah.
fine. We can always correct it later on
Yeah.
or put it in the notes. But yeah, I would love to know how, like, tell us a little bit more about why you chose the dead stock concept and what is made to order for those who don't know what that is, and yeah, why did you choose this model for your brand?
Yeah, first of all, because um, like in terms of dead stock fabrics, I think, yeah, like I said, it's very important to say that there are so many fabrics out there from big houses, which are otherwise will turn into waste. And I try to turn this waste, which is not waste,
Yeah.
into new, hopefully good products.
And do you
And
know, I mean, like, because I hear this a lot, but why is there so much waste from these big fashion houses? Like, do you think they're not planning accurately enough, or?
yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
But I think, or my theory is that if you produce more fabrics, then it's cheaper, like more meters of fabrics,
Ah, yeah.
then it's cheaper. And I think maybe, actually, I don't know, but this is my theory that it's because of that. And maybe some pieces are not selling, and then they're not producing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. And they're also not using like old fabrics.
No,
So,
they're
yeah.
using virgin material, of course. That's so interesting. I also had a Instagram conversation with a different brand founder about exactly this and like MOQs and why are they so high and
Hmm.
all of these things. But that's another topic maybe to go into a different day. Yeah, tell us about your made to order concept. What does it mean for
Yeah.
when somebody wants to buy something?
Yeah. So I started with the brand with this made to order concept, but it will actually change
Mhm.
right now, but not completely. Like you will still have the opportunity to have one piece made to order in a size you want from
Mhm.
other collections, or if I have a new collection, then you can, for example, pre-order in your size. So I don't need to produce before you have this piece.
Yeah.
And I started with this concept because, overconsumption is like one of the most challenging things in this industry. um, and you have, or many brands have so much waste
Mhm.
and so many pieces which are not selling. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm a small brand. Do I need to have like 50, 100 pieces of each piece, which I have like on stock? I don't think so.
Yeah.
If I have the possibility to work with the manufacturer where it's possible to have this made to order concept, I can do that. And
Yeah.
I found a very, very good manufacturer in the Netherlands. And some people also ask me, why are you producing in the Netherlands? Yeah, because I don't have like a lot of stock, and
Yeah.
right now I only do made to order, and with
Yeah.
them it's possible right now to produce in small batches.
Yeah.
If I want to have one piece like 10 times, or
Hmm.
20 times, then it's also fine, you know. But if it changes maybe in 2, 3 years, of course, I need also another manufacturer. Maybe I
Yeah.
will choose one from Italy or Portugal.
Yeah.
But it's sure that it will be in Europe. But
Yeah.
for now, it was the best option for me. And yeah.
So when somebody orders a dress from you, how does it work? Like how long is the lead time? And yeah, what is the process
Yeah,
for you?
usually it's like 2 weeks and then you have your
Yeah.
piece.
Okay.
But
Nice.
sometimes I also have like if I have something on stock, you have it immediately. But if
Yeah.
I don't have it, it's made to order, of course.
Yeah.
But I realized now um, from the last 2 years almost that it's also very, very hard because in the end for example, if you order something, you want it immediately. You don't want to wait 2, 3 weeks. Maybe not you, but other people.
I'm a patient shopper.
they, they want to have it
Of course.
directly and
Of
they
course.
don't want to wait. They want also to try the pieces because when
Yeah.
you have this made to order thing, it's also maybe some people don't like the piece, then I have it back, but then I
Uh,
also, have
you lose
the
the, yeah.
costs. Yeah, and that's also not the best thing in
No.
the end for me.
Of course.
And yeah,
I
and
think it's, yeah. I think
yeah.
what's very interesting is because we're circling around like this concept of desire, because obviously when
Mm,
you fall in love with a piece, you want to wear it right away. I know this feeling
yeah,
as well.
me too.
And what you also like described about like this feeling of or the search for belonging, which I can totally resonate with, and I'm sure many people can, for whatever reasons why we have this. You know, we all have our own story, but it's like it's something about desire, right? That we're
Completely.
feeling. And I think that's like so interesting. And then if we speak about like curating a brand or like a product, like choosing the fabrics, but also the location that it's concepted in, and all of these things to translate or like give away like a certain feeling. It's always about this concept of desire, right? And what feeling do I
Mhm.
want to pass on, kind of.
Yeah.
So I think that's yeah, a super interesting concept to circle your head around. Um, I also want to say, like, I think that, starting a brand from scratch by yourself, like you're doing, like you're a powerhouse, you're a one-woman show, you're doing all of this by yourself, you're doing the online shop, you're organizing the shows and everything else that like goes into a business. So, how do you keep yourself sane as you build your brand? Like, do you have your routines or something that you always do that keeps you grounded?
Actually, I need coffee like every morning. Oh
Cheers.
my God. I really need my coffee every morning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't survive. And it sets me like in a very good mood and I'm motivated and everything is fine. And I also do Pilates. So I have like a clear mind and body. So I think that's yeah, very important for me to have my small routine
Yeah.
and then also go for a walk when it's possible. And I also, yeah, when I go for a walk, I have always music in my ears,
Yeah.
and that's also like a process where I think about everything, about the week, about what's coming on, like next days. About ideas. Everything happens when I walk. So I
Mm.
always need to walk. It's
Yeah.
a bit strange, but it's like I need that moment for myself. And it happens when I walk or when I sit
Love it.
somewhere in the park. For the first collection, for example, I was in Paris and I was in a park. And I yeah did all the sketches like in this park,
Wow.
and after that it was the collection. And it happens not that I sit here on the table and then I am like, what can I do? It's
Yeah.
like really
Yeah.
always these small moments and details, and then it comes up in my
I
head,
love that.
and yeah.
I really love that so much because what I was thinking about, I read this essay in the latest The Gentlewoman magazine. I have it
Mm,
over there. And it was about desire actually. And what you're describing, like everything happens when you walk. It's also like, you're moving constantly. So it
hmm
happens in movement. And desire, I feel like, is also about movement and not about arrival, right? Because and basically she talks about like her youth and like getting older. I think the woman writing is an older woman, like older than us. And
hmm
maybe in her 50s, I don't know, I'll look it up, but I think it's so interesting because she really makes a call for enjoying that feeling of desire, because I think us and like at our age we're both more at the starting point of our purpose, I would say, or purpose careers. We obviously already had a career before that, but that it's like such an important part to really enjoy this yearning and desire process
hmm
and not just, always rush to, oh, I finally want to arrive. Uh,
yeah.
so, speaking of desire, Venus is also the goddess of desire and beauty. So I always ask my guests at the end of the conversation, what does beauty mean to you?
It's a very difficult question, a very good one, but difficult. But beauty for me, like I said in this conversation, I think it's about emotions and small details, and maybe not what I see, but what I feel. Um, yeah,
So powerful
I
thing.
would describe it like that.
I love that. Thank you. And one last question that I also always ask is, do you have a favorite book? And it doesn't have to be a fashion related book, but just something that, yeah, makes you feel a certain way.
Actually, I don't have time right now to read a book, and I don't found my favorite book, but I really want to read the book Strangers.
Aha,
Do you know that book?
I don't think
I
so.
heard a lot about that, and I heard that every woman needs to read that book.
Oh my
So
God.
um, I'm going on vacation the next days, so
Yes.
I will buy that book and read it during vacation. And
Love that.
yeah, but sometimes it's also for me, especially very difficult to read a book during work days or also after work,
Yeah.
because what I do is like the creative work is always in my head, and when I read a book, then I also thinking about the
Also in your
things
head.
like,
Yes.
yeah, I can't concentrate.
I'm the
And
same.
it's
I'm like so deep into the world of the book. I'm like, so I get that when you're like, when your head is full, you cannot take in even more.
no, no. And yeah, so I'm looking forward for my holidays and for that book, but I will tell you afterwards if it's a good one.
Yes, great. No, that is perfect. And this is exactly also what I'm promoting with Venusian Pleasures, this feeling of, being able to dive into that world and then also relax into it, which we don't always have the time for. But that's why reading is the perfect holiday, beachside activity, I
Mhm.
think. Yeah, so I love that for you. I hope you have the most wonderful holiday.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you want to share that we maybe haven't touched upon?
I don't think so. I think I said everything what was important for the brand, and yeah,
Perfect. Thank you so much, Angelina. It was a real pleasure talking to
you.
you. And thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you too. It was nice to meet you.
Mm.